Hi, so why is the last movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata difficult? Is it difficult? Well, I don't really find it difficult. I find it pretty easy in a lot of ways. It's quick, it's a fast tempo. So any piece of piano music that needs a really quick tempo, you get that kind of adrenalized feeling in the brain. You have to stay calm. You have to deliver that feeling of it being kind of adrenalized and exciting without actually getting overexcited yourself. So I guess that's something we have to kind of work on, staying calm in in half of our self, whilst the other half expresses the excitement. Now, this is what my teaching is all about. I'm always teaching people to focus on a simple model of musical language. Fluency is, it's speaking the language, isn't it? Speaking the language of music in a way that feels clear and you understand, vocabulary you're saying. So if you have that clarity, if you understand precisely what you're saying moment by moment, you can have a calm, clear focus on that, whilst you get quite excited in the delivery of that language. It's sort of almost like you've got two selves. A self that's more body and soul, more intuitive, more expressive, more natural, and a part of you that's nice and clear and conscious and knows exactly what it's doing. But I think there's some more reasons why that particular piece is tricky. And one of the things that makes it tricky, by the way, I'm not going to play excerpts from it. The reason being, the last time I did a video where I played excerpts from pieces of famous classical music, I got a huge copyright claim slapped on the video as if I was a finger sinker or something. So I'm not going to risk that again. And in a way, that's a good thing, because I wouldn't necessarily just practice that piece. What I would do is I'd make up little patterns and studies and improvise things that kind of create the same sorts of problems in a way that creates more agility in the brain to do that. So if you take different chords, you can take different chords. Obviously, the whole of those first bars of that piece, the last movement of the Moonlight Sonata, are built on chords, right? So in fact, the whole piece is very, very sort of chord-like. I call them harmonic blocks. So if I take a harmonic block of, say, G minor, so that the pattern that it's doing is we've got the left-hand thing. And in the right hand, it's obviously going up in arpeggios. But if you don't go up to start with, it's that funny little feeling that you have to get the shape going that way. And I would say a rhythm cell, I would say a word, like a kind of word, a bit like a wind player does when they're sort of articulating the notes clearly when they're playing. So I would say either tigga-digga. Tigga-digga is like a rhythm cell, a little quadruple cell, or diddle-diddle. I tend to say diddle-diddle. Depends on kind of what comes most naturally to you based on kind of how you speak and stuff. So I say diddle-diddle. So my diddle-diddle is that shape. It's diddle, diddle, diddle. And the left hand's going like dum-dum. And they have to do it absolutely in sync. So you need that nimble, close to the keys feeling. I know exactly where I am in the keyboard map. I know I'm covering. And I'm not going to move up the keys to start with. I'm just going to play that pattern. Feel the strong groove. I chant, I say a mantra. I go inward rhythm, flowing rhythm, inward rhythm, flowing rhythm. So that strong feeling of groove. I think it's much easier to play almost anything with a strong feeling of groove. The body just likes it. The body responds well to that. And you do that on different chords. So I could say, B minor. I could change chord. Doing that kind of thing is very good as well, because that's tricky, especially to get it in nice and neat at the end. I'll do it on C sharp minor. Do that crispness at the end. So it's kind of all about rhythm and clarity of articulation in your fingers. So nice, neat finger movements. Don't think about technique. If you start thinking about your fingers and think about technique, I just think it makes things feel more complicated and difficult. You want that clear pattern, that diddle-diddle going that way, diddle-diddle. That needs to be clear in your mind, clear as a physical thing, like a path that you're walking through the keys. obviously all beautifully synced up with the left hand. Diddle, 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 diddle. And doing it slowly, there's no shame in doing it slowly. Slow practice is good, yeah? Because it gets the pattern clear and your mind gets everything synced up. What you want is precision and clarity first. Speed is then easy if you have precision and clarity, if the pattern of the music is clear. So once you can do that sort of thing in situ, staying in one place, once you can do that in one place, you could then decide to start to move up the key. And maybe down the keys as well, like that. So you're getting these patterns really, really clear. So that's those passages. Another place that can cause people trouble in any piece of music that has this is when you have these left-hand tremolos. And again, it's rhythm. You've got to make sure that you're not actually getting off the beat. That relaxation that comes from in the body, actually in the body, from staying in the groove makes it work. It's precise. It's not just some kind of rough movement. I do the same thing when I'm doing trills and ornaments. I want them to be rhythmically precise, articulate, to speak. Diddle, 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 diddle. We want that clarity. We want that precision. Not because it sounds better, it does, but because the body likes it. It feels more comfortable to have that articulate clarity, a strong groove, clear rhythm cells, these little rhythmic units, diddle, 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 diddle. Yeah? And then whatever you're playing in the other hand will all sync up. And now I know I have this kind of ability to improvise, and I know that makes it all a lot more fun what I'm doing, and it means that I don't get that kind of boring muscle memory practice. Muscle memory is the enemy in a way, because when we play something from muscle memory, I don't know, it's like the brain doesn't have to know what it is. It can be quite mushy, can't it? In your mind, it can be quite mushy and approximate what it is, and the muscle memory takes over. Now, I feel that's the enemy in a piece like this. It's an enemy of precision and clarity. Some people can do muscle memory playing better than others. I don't like the feeling of it, not because I can't do it. I suppose if I practice something in that repetitive way, yeah, muscle memory kicks in and I can play probably even faster and even more kind of impressively that way. But I don't like it because it makes me feel anxious. Makes me feel precarious, and also it doesn't feel expressive. It doesn't feel like I'm telling it in the same way. So yeah, I know I have this ability to improvise, and I know that being fluent, really helps with this process. But you can plan, you can decide on some patterns that you're going to do that are different from the piece. This is a good way to practice, so you're not always practicing exactly the same notes in the same order. Another way of thinking about this thing of groove and rhythm cells is like mental chunking, the speed of your mental chunking. So if I'm sort of processing the music note by note, that's seriously fast. If I'm processing it cell by cell, diddle 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 dum dum, that's a lot slower in terms of processing, isn't it? The music's still very fast and it sounds very rhythmic and full of life, which is great, but my mental processing isn't so fast. So that's another way in which this kind of idea of the groove and rhythm cells and being clear also where you are in the keyboard map at every single moment, each one of those diddle diddles, I know what it is. That's what it is. It's clear in my mind, clear in my body, clear as a physical reality. It's clear as a sound as well, and that's important too. But you can plan it. You can plan little patterns on just different chords, different patterns. Even just doing the in situ one, you'll be surprised. It will really help your brain. Really, really helps really helps the brain to process in that way. Another passage that can give people sort of kind of trigger some difficulties is that kind of. The problem with this is it's just purely rhythmic. It's not, get some flexibility into your playing so you can get from A to B, make a bit more time. Again, it's in the rhythm, you see. We've got to think of the structure right. So if I say diddle, 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 diddle. Yeah, do you hear that structure is correct? What it mustn't do is go no 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 no, and everything sort of chops up in the wrong place. So again, that's not really physically difficult. It's just that the brain mangles it when we sort of do the karaoke version or the muscle memory version. The brain mangles the actual pattern, and then the body doesn't kind of feel the rhythm. You get this idea that rhythm is something that we feel in our body, like a dancer. It's something that we have, or any kind of athlete, we have to allow the body to flow. And rhythmic structure is kind of organic. It encourages that flow. So that, I don't think those passages are inherently difficult. People worry about jumps a lot, but again, if you're clear where you're going, if I want to go from there to there, it's not very difficult as long as it's very clear in my mind. So this is the kind of practice that I would always advocate: being clear where you are, even without all the, the fluency that I teach. You can still have a sense of knowing where you are in the keys, and perhaps what chord you're on, which I know is a little bit theoretical, but rather than thinking in blocks and, in the way that I teach it, but you can still do that. You can still feel the rhythm and feel the structure of the keyboard in a way that feels, solid, and try and get as much clarity in your mind as you possibly can. So that's kind of my little lesson on a piece like that. I know I didn't play any passages from it, which is very unconventional, isn't it? But that's the way I think. I think that music is a language. If we understand the language of that piece and how it works, we can play it very well. Even if that seems a little bit out of reach at the moment, you can still probably get something from what I've just explained. Something of how we can loosen ourselves by using a stronger sense of rhythm, a stronger sense of musical pattern.